Hello friends, today I'll be reading The Two Frogs. Once upon a time, in the country of Japan, there lived two frogs, one of whom made his home in a ditch near the town of Osaka on the coast, while the other dwelt in a clear little stream that ran through the city of Kyoto, such a great distance apart. They had never heard of each other, but funnily enough, the idea came into both their heads. At once they should like to see a little of the world. The frog who lived at Kyoto wanted to visit Osaka, and the frog who lived at Osaka wished to go to Kyoto, where the great Mikado had his palace. So one fine morning in the spring, they both set out along the road that they led from Kyoto to Osaka, and from one end to another, and the other from the other. The journey was more tiring than either had expected, for they didn't know much about traveling. And halfway along the road, there arose a mountain that had to be climbed. It took them both a long time and a great amount of hops to reach the top, but there they were at last. Imagine how surprised each frog was to see another frog before him. They looked at each other for a moment without speaking, and they fell into conversation discussing the cause of their meeting so far from the homes. They talked for a long time, and they were both delighted to find that they both had the same wish to learn a little more about their native country. As there was no sort of hurry, the two frogs stretched themselves out in a cool, damp place and agreed that they would have a good rest before they parted to go on their ways. "What a pity we are not bigger," said the Osaka frog, "for then we could see both towns from here, and then if it's worth our while going." "Oh, that is easily managed," returned the Kyoto frog. "We have only got to stand up on our hind legs and hold on to each other, and then we can each look at the town we are traveling to." This idea pleased the Osaka frog so much that at once he jumped up and put his front feet on the shoulders of his friend, who had risen up onto his hind legs also. They were both stood and stretching themselves as high as they could, and holding each other so tightly that they would not fall down. The Kyoto frog turned his nose toward Osaka, and the Osaka frog turned his nose towards Kyoto, but the foolish creatures forgot that when they stood up, their eyes lay back of their great heads. So although their noses were pointing to the places to which they wanted to go, their eyes were actually looking at the places from which they had came from. "Dear me," cried the Osaka frog, "Kyoto is exactly like Osaka. It is certainly not worth such a long journey. I shall go back to home instead. If I had an idea that Osaka was only a copy of Kyoto, I should never have traveled all this way," exclaimed the frog from Kyoto. As he spoke, he took his feet from his friend's shoulders, and they both fell down on the grass. Both frogs were disappointed at their discoveries. They took a polite farewell of each other and set off for home again. And to the end of their lives, they believed that Osaka and Kyoto, which are as different to look as two towns can be, were alike as two peas. The end.